Welcome to Solutions. I'm Eileen Preston. Solutions is a program about the challenges our community faces and the people and organizations stepping up to help with those problems and challenges. And today we all have a huge challenge. COVID-19 is a challenge to our very immune systems. So I wanted to speak today with Patty Burke. She's a Falmouth resident and certified health and lifestyle coach who's going to talk to us about 7 really specific ways to help with our immunity. Just little boosters we can do, all things we can just easily incorporate into our lives. Patty Burke, thanks very much for speaking with us today.
Thanks for having me, Eileen. It's a pleasure. Happy to be here.
And I'm really happy to see you looking so well because you have actually been challenged by COVID-19 in your own home with your family. So yes. Tell us about that. How is it going?
Going great now. We've all recovered and feeling healthy and really feel so grateful that our symptoms were minimal compared to what some people are suffering with. And my heart goes out to everyone who is being affected by this virus in many different ways. So we as health coaches are alerted to this and we're here to serve. And meantime, as I was running live Facebook talks about immune system, it was starting to run through our house. So what happened was our younger daughter, who's 21, senior from college, arrived home on Sunday, March 15. And my other 2 daughters came in. So the whole family's here, the 5 of us. By Tuesday, youngest daughter breaks out with a fever and cough, some congestion, really feeling horrible. And a day later, we learned that one of her good friends tested positive for coronavirus. So we were trying, and we were hunkering down. We were doing self-quarantine since that Sunday, the 15th. But she, we treated her with natural remedies, Tylenol, keeping the fever down, some decongestant. And it was really like a bad cold or a flu. Within a couple days, middle daughter, Maria, comes down with sore throat, fever. A few days later, husband Patrick comes down with similar symptoms. A few days after that, I got hit with a fever. And we really had some telltale, we handled it differently. It's funny that the symptoms can vary, but to certain degrees. What all of us happened within day 7, we lost our ability to taste. And that seems to be a telltale sign. Mm-hmm. Testing was not available at that time, and we didn't want to stress the system. So we just quarantined and, got better on our own, in our own house. So luckily, everyone's good. And for the most part, what we're hearing on the news, 80% of people kick it out, within 7 days, like a flu bug or a cold.
I'm so glad you're one of the 80%. And I think it was great that you just assumed that you had it. You didn't get tested, but you just assumed and, you
treated it.
Yeah, you were more cautious. Yeah, didn't go out there.
Still quarantining. Yes. Very cautious.
Great. Well done. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're so glad you're all better now. So talk to us about the immune boosters. What are they?
Well, this time in our lives, what we're all going through can really be a wake-up call for many of us. We can see what's going right, what isn't going right in our life. So being a lifestyle coach, a health coach, I like to bring people's awareness, of course, to their own well-being. Yeah. Because if we're thriving, healthy, in a healthy way, an emotional way, then everything else in our life will go that much better. Our relationships, our finances, things like that. So let's talk about, boosting our physical health and our immune system. So first of all, why is it important to boost our physical health and our immunity? Well, to avoid having risk of virus and disease. That's an obvious one these days. Also, when we get sick, it allows us to bounce back quicker with less severe symptoms. That's super important. We can live longer, as our bodies are stronger. We will live longer. We'll enjoy, the things we like to do. We'll have extra energy to travel, to play with the grandkids. And we should be self-aware, and work on our health, not just now, but all the time. So, not just during an epidemic, but truly, these are important ways to avoid illness and ensure that we're feeling good and thriving in our lives. So here is just a summary of my top 7 boosters, immune boosters, physical health boosters. And I've gathered this information from the Health Coach Institute, through my training and through research from nationally known doctors like Dr. Mark Hyman and many other, highly regarded doctors. So quickly, just to review the 7, I start out with number 1, stress reduction. Reducing stress and worry and anxiety. Stress and anxiety has been shown to be the number 1 killer, so to speak, lifestyle disease symptom that leads to, dire health problems. I know that you're going to cover that in more detail.
Yes, I'm speaking with a mental health therapist about that, yeah.
Okay.
But
so that's going to be...
Your world also covers that, I know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our emotional health and physical health is all connected. Mm-hmm. One leads to the next. So that's booster number 1, improve, you want to reduce your stress. Number 2, take care of your gut health. Number 3, and I'm going to review these in a little bit more detail. So number 2 is taking care of our gut health. And number 3 is getting sunshine. Number 4 is movement, just moving the body. Our bodies as humans, we crave movement at least every day. And it helps circulate the blood and keeps our organs healthy. Number 5 is eating healthy food and hydration. Number 6 is sleep, our quality and quantity of sleep. And number 7, not smoking. So these might sound really basic, mm-hmm. but they're super important. And when we incorporate them on a regular basis, a little bit each day, a little bit of repetitive healthy behaviors, then it becomes part of our lifestyle. And before we know it, we're living healthy and thriving.
Great. Let's get to them then.
Okay. So we'll skip over number 1, the stress and worry, and you'll cover that in your next show in more detail. Number 2, taking care of our gut health. So many people probably don't even pay attention to what's going on inside our gut. Believe it or not, our digestive system and gut health, it houses 90% of our immune system.
90%. Wow.
Super important. There's a microbiome, a very tender, sensitive ecosystem that's going on in our gut and digestive system that really filters, it does a lot of jobs. Okay. It brings nutrients to our blood and our organs that we need. It filters toxins. It's always working. So we want it to work in our benefit, right? To keep us healthy. So one thing to consider are a few things. For healthy gut, we want to keep our bacteria levels healthy in our gut. So there's good bacteria and bad. We want to keep those balanced. So in order to do that, we want to consider taking a good quality probiotic each day, no matter what your age is, even from a young child all the way up to elderly ages. And just a tip, the older we get, the more our digestive system breaks down and it's not able to work as efficiently as it used to. So, I also recommend adding a digestive enzyme. So these are capsule supplements that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And there are some great health food stores here in Falmouth. and online. So we lose our enzymes as we get older to be able to digest our food.
So what exactly does a probiotic do?
Probiotic adds healthy bacteria.
Okay.
The Acidophilus and Bifidus, you maybe have heard of some of these strains of good bacteria. That's what a probiotic does.
Okay.
And it's important to have that balance in our gut. And oftentimes we don't get it from yogurt. We don't get it from food and natural sources. So it's good to supplement it when we can. Okay. We also want to eat anti-inflammatory types of food. So you've probably heard that buzzword, inflammation. That can lead to chronic diseases. So we want to be cognizant of anti-inflammatory behaviors. So these types of food are a fresh, non-processed food, non-chemicals, healthy fruits and veggies, things like that. We'll get into that in a little more detail. So that's it. So we want to avoid long-term antibiotic use as well. Okay. And when we take antibiotic, we can take a probiotic, but take them 2 hours apart. And that way we can keep the good bacteria going as long as it's not taken at the same time as our antibiotic. Okay.
Great one to know. Okay. What about sunshine? I think that's number 3, right?
On my shoulders. I love it. That is so important. And now that it's springtime, we can expose ourselves a little more. I recommend for people who work in an office situation or inside, at least 15, 20 minutes a day, walking outside during your lunch hour and get that face up into the sun.
Well, right now we're all inside, so we should all be trying to take a little walk outside, right?
Absolutely. Okay. There's so many benefits to moving our body and getting the sunshine. It increases our vitamin D level. It also helps with our serotonin level, which is our happy hormones. And so just by getting sunshine, it increases our feeling of happiness. Okay, so it's an instant boost. Now, sometimes we don't get enough natural sun rays. And in our lifestyle these days, we're not working in the fields like we used to all the time. We're not out on horse and buggies getting that exposure. I and many doctors recommend, and I know for myself, I take a vitamin D supplement. So in the winter, I take about 5,000 units. It's IUs, 5,000 a day, tiny little tablet. In the summer, I cut it in half, take about 2,000, because I'm outside getting a lot of sun. Vitamin D also helps our respiratory health.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh,
yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, COVID-19 attacks our lungs and our respiratory. Yeah. So it's very helpful to improve our respiratory health, and it also gives us energy. I ended up going 1 week without my vitamin D, and I was so lethargic, and I didn't know why it was happening. And then I realized, okay, I'm missing some of that boost. But of course, get yourself checked out with your doctor. They can easily measure through a blood test where your vitamin D levels are, and you can take it from there.
Okay. Movement, fitness.
Movement. Oh, yes. Love this one. It is so, and I call it movement. I don't want to put pressure on people. I don't want to, we can call it fitness, physical fitness. It's important to just get any kind of movement into your day. Okay. It's so important to boost our spirits and get those happy hormones going, to circulate our blood flow. It lowers inflammation, and it strengthens our muscles and bones.
And how often do you recommend getting up from the desk and working? So many.
Oh my gosh, every half hour.
Okay.
Or an hour. All right. Just walk around for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I do recommend each day to try to get 20 minutes of a rigorous type of movement. At least 20 minutes, preferably an hour if you can, but a lot of people don't have that time. Mm-hmm. But what I mean by rigorous is to just get your heart rate up. It can be a fast walk. It can be a little jog. It could be, doing knee lifts, and just kind of march around your house. So I also recommend on a daily basis trying to get that 10,000 steps in. Okay, per day.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we ask, what types of movement? I put it out to your audience for you to ask yourself, what type of movement does my body want today? You can have a little sticky note as a reminder, and go with the flow. Let it come from your body, and not from your head. We want to start tuning in to what our body needs. Our bodies have a lot of wisdom. So movement could be anywhere from biking, rollerblading, cartwheels in the yard, jump roping,
little jumping jacks,
little jumping jacks,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
knee raises,
great.
And of course walking. Especially these days with the weather warming up and the beautiful ocean here at the Cape. We're so blessed with beautiful views and a nice bike path. I know I get out there almost every day. So good way to bond with your partner as well, or your children or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I love it. That's a great one. Healthy food and hydration is your number 5,
yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, a lot to pack in here.
Okay.
So I'll try to stay concise for our audience. So healthy food. We don't want to be tempted. It's so easy for us to be thrown off guard and tempted to falling into quick and easy junk food patterns. Now this day and age, as we're cooped up in our houses, we might be falling into some bad habits, so to speak, because our moods are down. So when our moods are down, we are going to be craving, serotonin boosters. And what's that? That's like desserts, sugary things. It could lead to addictions, ways. It could be unhealthy ways. Well, I want to kind of pivot you a little bit to focus on healthier ways. So we want to avoid fast foods, processed food. We might be tempted because McDonald's is running a special, a 2-for-1 hamburgers, and they're stacked this high.
Yes.
Seems like a great deal. Seems like I can get full. Oh boy, that can be the most unhealthy. You can be tired the rest of the day. You're raising your cholesterol, very bad for your body. So we just want to be aware and know that you have the choice to pack a healthy lunch or go down the road to maybe a Subway or something that has a little more fresh types of food. So we want to pack our snacks and our meals with nutrient-rich types of, ingredients.
Right.
So I'm going to introduce something I call the magic plate. So here's a nice trick that you guys can keep in mind is this visual, and we'll put it up if we can later. A visual of a magic plate. And this really, a healthy way and balanced way to eat is just to balance your macronutrients. So let me just quickly review. You maybe heard that buzzword. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's basically made up of 3 things. Healthy carbohydrates, healthy fats, proteins, and then in the magic plate, I recommend a third of those, and then in the middle, 3 tablespoons of fiber.
Oh,
okay, so our carbohydrates, they basically break down to glucose, and they aid in the synthesis of amino acids and help our organs to function. So examples of complex carbs are grains, fruits, legumes, veggies, nuts, simple carbs, which we want to avoid, and I'll review for a minute, that's sweets and sugary things.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm on the simple carbs, so these are things to avoid and be aware of. So simple carbs break down to sugar. Sugar is very unhealthy for our body. It can come in the form of pastries, pasta, breads, beverages like soda, lemonade, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, coffee drinks, and alcohol. When we consume too much sugar, many things happen negatively in our body. It raises our amount of insulin. When we have too much insulin in our body and we don't burn it off, it turns to fat. Sugar can lead to inflammation. It can raise our cholesterol, all kinds of things. Okay, so that's the carb situation. Let's just cover fats. These fats basically do not dissolve in water. We need them for energy. We need them for absorbing vitamins. We need them for hormone function. And healthy fats are things like fish, right, salmon, omega oils, omega-3, our greens, avocado and olive oils, and things like nuts, like almonds and walnuts. Not peanuts, but almonds and walnuts and pecans. So that's healthy fats.
Okay, great.
Lastly is proteins. So our body needs proteins to build muscles and for enzymes, for digestive system, and hormone balance and energy. So examples are meat. I'd like to recommend very low in the red meat, and you can eat other kinds of meat, poultry, things like that. Nuts, dairy, and seafood. So that's our proteins. And plants. You can get a lot of plant-based protein as well. And then fiber, of course, it helps to keep us full longer, and it helps our digestive system. So that's a combination of what I recommend for eating healthy, for our snacks and our meals.
And you also think it's important to hydrate.
And to hydrate. Oh my gosh. Yes, we'll loop that in. Healthy food and hydration. And by the way, for a sweet, I told you all things not to eat or, for your sweets. Let me just circle back. What I like to have, because I get sweet cravings, we all do. Dark chocolate is a really great go-to, and they sell the little Dove, my favorite, in the 1-inch squares. Perfect little snack. Just
how many do you eat, Patty?
I eat 1 or maybe 2. But you could have maybe 3 or 4 every now and then.
Okay.
But it curbs that craving, and then if you get your mind busy on something fun to do, then your cravings will start to disappear.
Okay.
So hydration is really important. I know you've all heard this, and there's many reasons why we want to hydrate. It helps us to think clearer. It gives us better energy. It's critically important for our muscle health, like especially if we're working out and building that muscle tissue. We want to repair it with hydration and with proteins. Okay, and then hydration is great for our organs as well. So I recommend, rule of thumb, 64 ounces. Okay. Now there is a formula that it's like drink 64% of your body weight. Now, if you're 150 pounds, that can go close to 100 ounces a day. Well, that might not be reasonable for many people. So I recommend for most people, 64 ounces. And one trick you can do, I don't know if you're challenged for getting your water in, Eileen. I certainly am.
A little bit, yeah.
One trick is to fill up, just buy one of those big plastic jugs at Walmart, 64 ounces. And fill it up in the morning each day, put it in your refrigerator, and just pour from that throughout the day into your travel cup or your regular glass. I'm going to take a sip right now.
There you go. Physician, take thy medicine. Yes.
Yes, drink my own advice there. And you can flavor the water with sliced lemon, cucumber, chopped up strawberries, whatever you like. A great hydrator is coconut water. Another good one are those packs of Emergency that you buy in CVS or in the pharmacy. Mm-hmm. There's vitamin C in that, and there's also electrolytes. So that's how you want to, just re-energize and stay hydrated that way.
Tip number 6. I don't know what this says about me, but it's my favorite. I think I have this one really down, is sleep.
Sleep. Yeah, never feel guilty about too much sleep, unless it's really cutting into your productivity. But yeah, the sleep is, of course, we've all heard this. It can be very challenging for many of us.
Yeah, particularly now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, especially if you have thoughts roaming in your head or you have too much
Worries.
to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, worries. It can interrupt our quality of sleep. But when we get our rest and good quality of sleep, as you know, there's many benefits. So the benefits include, improved brain function, clarity to be able to think. Our digestion system is, when we sleep, we're instigating our parasympathetic part of our nerve system. That's the rest and digest.
Okay.
Part of our nervous system, and when we're sleeping, it's ideal time that our digestive system in our body is in the healing process. So that gets optimized when we're at rest. And of course, when we're rested, we have more energy to do the things we love. We'll be more productive. We'll have less brain fog. And of course, it boosts our immune system. So, of course, I recommend 6 to 8 hours. Some people don't require as much, especially as we age. Sometimes we sleep 5 or 6, as long as they're good quality hours, that's great. And then feel free to take a nap, in the middle of the day if you can. So, I have a couple little tips for sleep quality. We want to practice regular rhythms of sleep. So going to bed and waking up at the same time each day. And it's great to have a ritual. I call it a power down hour. Now, by the way, our bodies follow the circadian rhythm pattern and the patterns of light and darkness and the mood and the tides and so forth. So science tells us that 10 p.m. is an ideal time to go to bed and waking at about 7 in the morning. So what I recommend is a power down hour. So an hour before your bedtime, so about 9 o'clock at night, you can start to power down. So what does that mean? Everyone's ritual can be different, but some ideas are running a warm bath, certainly closing down all your blue light, your electronics. You don't want to be shuffling through Facebook at 9 or 10 at night. Journaling, reading, dimming the lights, maybe a little cup of decaf tea, things like that, scented candles. You can come up with your own routine that's going to help you to power down. Also, I recommend a cool room temperature. Our bodies kick off heat at night because a lot of stuff is going on when we're sleeping. So if we can cool the room to about 65 degrees or 67, that's really a perfect room temperature. So you can try that out. And just have a nice aesthetic environment in your bedroom. Restful colors, eliminate clutter. You want to avoid, anything that might add worries. You could I keep notes, a nice journal or notepad at my bedtime. I do a brain dump at night and know that all my worries are right there, and then I can read and just go to sleep.
Love that. I also did an interview with a neuroscientist from Brigham and Women's about sleep. She did sleep studies. And they're now discovering that there's something that they call social jet lag, where if you don't go to sleep at the same time, sort of keep the exact same schedule, you have a little jet lag, like a hangover. So, for instance, kids might go to college and they might stay awake hours and hours, and then they wake up at random times and go to sleep at different times. That seems to be really unhealthy, and they're recommending that you really try, even on the weekends, wake up, go to sleep at the same time.
Yeah, so important. Yeah, we want to regulate that for our bodies as best that we can. So, good point. And
lastly, number 7.
Yeah, no smoking. Well, especially now as people are suffering with COVID that's hitting our lungs, is so important. And we know for many other reasons, our bodies are just not meant to take in tobacco and those toxins.
And vaping, I understand, is
vaping is a huge problem. So
Mhm.
so smoking includes vaping, cigar smoking, pipe smoking, and cigarettes. Yeah.
Marijuana too.
And marijuana, of course. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. There
Yeah.
are other ways, there can be benefits to CBD oils. That's a whole nother discussion. But again, not in a smoky, toxic form for your lungs at all. Yeah, not good.
So, Patty, do you have any closing tips and suggestions that you have ideas with?
Sure. This has been great, by the way. I really hope
Really?
I didn't chat too
No, it's
much.
wonderful. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Give
I
us some
do.
practical tips.
Yeah. So in closing, I know that it's not always easy to implement these lifestyle changes, and healthy habits that I'm talking about. So as a coach, I advise, and coaches help people with long-term habit change. We help people to set goals, come up with a roadmap to make it easy and fun to address those goals, address any challenges that come up for people, and then, give them accountability and support to reach their goals. So I advise small changes on a consistent basis. Each day, each week, you do it and repeat. And that's how we train the brain. Now, I don't want to overwhelm people with all this information. So just pick one from each of those categories.
From each of the
Start
7.
with one thing.
Yeah.
And just repeat as best you can, maybe 3 times a week, eventually 5 times a week, eventually 7 times a week. One, and then you add in a second. That's how we start to train the brain. And most important, we want to focus on self-care and self-awareness. The more we're aware of what we're doing, the more we're in the present moment, then we can focus on what's important and not be distracted by the sales at McDonald's and things like that. So we just want to be present with our bodies. And absolutely, we want to, to help keep us on track, we want to tap into the why. Why we want to have healthy bodies. Why do we want to have strong immune system? For me, it's so that I have energy to do the things that I love to do, like biking. I love getting out on the bike trail in Falmouth, reading, and then someday running around with grandkids and traveling. So those are important things that are going to be the why. And so they're reminders every day for us. And practical tips, again, it's the 1% changes you want to look for in your routine that will help to boost your physical health, your emotional health and immune system. And tap into your whys. You can set up visual anchors to remind you why you want to eat healthy. Maybe hang the bikini out there in your closet. I know you have one, Eileen. Could be a reminder of getting on that beach this summer. I'm going to stay healthy.
Well,
so that's it.
Yeah, I can't wait to actually see you in person, and maybe we can get together in the kitchen and show people some of your really healthy recipes, which, your protein bars were delicious, and people can go to your website and check out a lot of your tips, wholebodyfocus.com.
Yes,
I think it is,
absolutely. Yeah, for more information, wholebodyfocus.com. And yeah, I live right here in Woods Hole, and I'm so thrilled and honored to be your resident health coach and, to be able to be with you. And honestly, we're all in this together. I'm so proud of everyone here at the Cape and in our nation to just pulling together, doing our part. And really, I wish all the best for you.
It's a privilege to get your tips here. We are really appreciative, and I thank you. And I'm really glad about the 1% changes. I can make small changes and get there. We're all going to get there together, right?
Yes.
We're in it together. So I'll see you over the mask.
Okay.
And, take care. Yep. Thank you very much.
Over the mask.